Hey guys, it's Dane at ZIMM'S Guitars. How you guys doing today? Today I got Patrick Flanagan with me. And he worked a long time with Tony Krank over at Krank Amplification. He's built me a bunch of Krank pedals. Hold that thing up. So what pedal is this?
This is the Distortis Maximus pedal. It's a super crazy high gain, off the charts distortion pedal that became pretty renowned back in the days, the early days of Krank when we first started producing them.
So what year did this whole thing start up with Krank amps?
This pedal was produced starting in about 2004 in the early days of Krank. Came about as Tony's quest for the Eddie Van Halen Brown sound was always Tony's obsession. And the pedal went through various versions before we finally arrived at this design. Dimebag was at the studio at the factory trying out some different stuff for the Krankenstein amp that we produced. And he saw one of the prototype Krankenstein pedals there laying on the floor, and he says, "You guys are going to have to find a new name for that pedal." And we kind of were confused as to why he asked that. Like, what's up with that? You know, why do we have to change the name of the pedal? And he said, "Because that's what we're gonna call my amp." You know, so this pedal used to be called the Krankenstein, and we had to come up with another name for it, which was courtesy of Kerry. He brought a bunch of snakes down. He was talking about a lot of different reptiles, and he was using all these Latin terms, the reptilicus, snakeicus, he was just using all these crazy, reptile names. And so we kind of started joking around talking about that shit, and the pedal became the Distortis Maximus, and so we kind of a play on that shit.
Yeah. Okay, so what was the circuitry used in this pedal? Was it based on something that was already out there, or how did you come up with this?
Okay, so the Distortis pedal, I know for sure the design is half of an old Electro-Harmonix Screaming Bird pedal, which is the treble boost, and I'm not really sure what the other half was. It could have been a linear power booster or it escapes me right now, but it was a combination of getting two of these different Electro-Harmonix circuits together, and that's when we realized, just how crazy the sound was. The tone was just incredible.
So you're still able to make these pedals right now. It's 2021. Krank's been out of business for 6 or 8 years now, and you're still able to make these for me.
Okay, so after Krank shut down, we had a board house here in town, assembly house, that was actually producing the parts for us. And after the factory shut down, I received a call from Steve, the guy who was running the board house, and he tells me, "Hey, I've got a huge stock of old Krank stuff here if you're interested in it." Well, I was, and it enabled me to continue putting these pedals together, and I've got a great stock of chassis, boards, components, and I can continue to produce these pedals for some time to come.
Awesome. All right, so Patrick's going to plug this thing in, and let's give it a listen.
Sounds good.
Here we go.
So we're going to do a little jamming on this Distortis pedal. Right now we got it plugged into this PRS cab and a 5-watt Marshall Plexi. And the guitar that we're going to use today is this is a ESP LTD EC1000. This guitar has played through more Krank amplifiers than any other guitar on the planet, because this is the guitar that I used to use at the factory whenever we were testing amps before they got put in the box and sent out the door. This was the guitar that I used to check them out with. So that's what we're going to use today to test out the pedal with. So it's a pretty brutal distortion. You can get, it's not really representative too much of it with going through this Marshall Class 5 here, but it's a pretty high gain pedal. You can get a lot of brutal sounds with it. Comes pretty close to replicating the distortion channel, the Krank channel, on the Krank Revolution, which again was kind of Tony's quest to get the Eddie Van Halen Brown sound. That factored in heavily to the design on the Krank Revolution, which of course fed into the design on the Distortis Maximus as well. So you can check it out here. Here's the clean tone of the amp. And again with the Distortis. So this thing will sustain for days.
All right, so thank you, Patrick, so much. These are available here at ZIMM'S Guitars, and I'm also going to put a few of them on Reverb, so you can check that. I'll have a link in the description where you can go on Reverb and find one. But Patrick, thank you so much, man.
You got it, Dane.
Have a great day.
And these will be exclusively available here at ZIMM'S for the foreseeable future. So
until you can find another music store that wants some of them. No, I am super happy to have these things. I grew up here in Phoenix with Krank Amp being they were the shit. And when Dimebag decided to jump on board, you know, it was awesome. Game on from there. But go ahead, take us out with a little song.